What's going on, good people? What's going on? Welcome to the final recording of the Texas League video podcast for the 2023-2024 season, where we will be recapping the championship matchup. I am one of your hosts, Dwayne Debo, Consolation Bracket Morrow. I am joined this week by my usual co-host, who was in the championship game. Introduce yourself.
I am Jared Cowan, the commissioner. I guess I'm the king of second place since I got second place in multiple leagues this year.
And we are joined by a special guest host this week, appearing on the podcast for the first time, the 2024 league champion, Mr. Egg Corn himself. Introduce yourself, sir.
What up, Mr. Aircorn, myself, Marcel Brown, back on the throne. Feels good to be back. Still tasting the champagne and smelling the champagne.
That looks more like
I'm-
champagne. It's kind of pink.
It's a rosé. It's a bubbly. It looked prettier. If we won pretty, I want it to look pretty. And what I wanted to drink, I want it to look pretty too. So everything this week's about looking pretty. So
Pimp C would be ashamed of you right now.
what you don't know, I got this shirt on and it's 20 degrees because what Pimp C say? TV ain't got no temperature.
Pimp C also said, take that monkey shit off. You embarrassing us.
He wasn't talking about these Versace's.
No, he was not. Hope you freeze one of your nipples off.
Oh man.
Yes, that is certified hate.
Diet. My nipples would fall off a champion.
Yes, I am certified hating on the fact that you won another championship this year. So, that being said, let's go into our usual. Jared, what is this week's kickoff question?
The kickoff question should be where he got that shirt from, but I'm going to stick to my original kickoff question, which is, with the way that the NFL season is trending, Chicago is looking to be they look like they might have found a quarterback they can work with, and they got a wide receiver in that lopsided trade from this past offseason. If you were the GM of the Chicago Bears, do you take a quarterback at one, or do you trade out of one with the intentions of getting another target for Justin Fields to throw the ball to, or a running back, somebody to help him out?
Mook, since you're our guest, I will give you first crack at the response.
I prefer you said since you're the champion, but that's cool. But
that's gonna be enough for that shit.
You know what I would do if I was the GM of the Bears? Like, you just come off that blockbuster trade where you get the best receiver and the best draft picks, and you had a good season out of Justin Fields. You did your cap stuff good last season. I quit while I was here. I resign right then and now and go to like a good team, an actual good franchise to look like a genius because it's nothing but downhill from here. You stick with the quarterback and he falls out there, it's gonna be like, oh, you didn't stick with Justin Fields. You stuck with Justin Fields and look at Caleb Williams. Or Justin Fields go to Atlanta and Caleb Williams, doesn't be like CJ Stroud his first year. Catch flack. So if I was the GM, I'd resign right now. And like Kansas City's GM probably tired of stuff. He probably be out of the office. I'd go to Kansas City and just do the obvious, get some wide receivers. And everybody's like, oh, he's such a genius. Look what he did in Chicago. Look what he did in Kansas City. Stick around Chicago right now. It's no winning. It's a lose-lose. Sometimes people are like, oh, that worked out for the both of them if they stuck with him. Couldn't go wrong, but with Chicago, it's always a can go wrong. So I know this wasn't an option, but I resign. I leave on top.
Jared, how did you let a man with that sort of mentality beat you in the championship game? How?
Because I quit. I quit while I was ahead. I didn't have no late games. I didn't have no Sunday night games. I quit when I was ahead.
as we said off before the recording, fantasy is a bit of luck. And as I stated in our group chat, his luck came when Adam didn't set his lineup. Because as what was it, 2 weeks ago, we looked at that matchup and said anybody else on his team would have gave him the win.
Literally anybody.
Anybody. So
literally anybody.
it's a bit of luck, and the luck was in his favor this year. That's all I can say.
Yeah, this is true. So I'll give you the non-drunk on champagne answer. I think you have to start with asking yourself this question: would I rather have 2 years Justin Fields, or is it 3 years Justin Fields right now? 3, yeah. Do I rather have a 3-year in the league Justin Fields compared to the list of presumptive 6 quarterbacks coming out this year? Because this is actually going to be a really quarterback rich draft, assuming that Jay Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, JJ McCarthy. We know Quinn is staying, but there's about 6, and then even someone no one's talking about who's actually a pretty damn good quarterback, Spencer Rattler. He won't go first round; he'll go later rounds, but he's going to be a serviceable pro. So you just have to ask yourself. You have to play a game of would I rather? Would I rather have Justin Fields with the experience, or do I cut my losses and go with another one? And I don't think there are more than 2 names on that list that would have the potential to be up there with Justin Fields talent-wise, and that's Penix or Daniels. If you're not 100% convinced that one of them can come in and take over what you've built with Fields right now, then you don't take them. You trade down, you upgrade your line, and you get them some more receivers. And you're actually going to need a running back, but you don't need a running back in the first round.
Yeah, because man, Darnell Mooney, dog.
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney ain't it? But it's one of those. Yeah, it's.
I mean, you need 2 receivers. You need a serviceable tight end. Like, you need additional weapons. If anything, Houston's example was C.J. Stroud this year, and even if you want to go with, the 49ers example, the reason why Brock Purdy got to come in and look like an instant genius is because they have some serious weapons for him to actually throw to in San Francisco. Like, it's easy again, you look at the kid who started for USC in the bowl game. And again, Caleb Williams can keep playing coy like he's not going pro, but if you're not going pro, why you didn't play in the bowl game? Right? So in order to keep yourself healthy, this kid came in his first ever start in college and threw for 5 touchdowns. Because you have weapons to throw to at USC. So
let me tell you, the way Caleb Williams was crying on his mama's titty up in his stands reminded me of when I used to go in to home and cry to my mama because my brother wouldn't let me play catch with him and his friends. That boy going pro.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know what he playing about. That boy going pro. The other thing about Chicago is, well, I would probably stick with Justin Fields, man. It's drafting is like some lottery tickets. It's like you might have the numbers, you might not. It might be those 3 apples in a row to scratch you. It might be 2 apples and a snake. And then you just look like an idiot. I mean, I think Fields is solid. They think they finally figured out what to do with him. Just get them some more skills. You can even do what you did last year. Trade down, get more draft picks, let another team draft the wrong person and look stupid while you get some more skills and shit. Like, there's always a disgruntled wide receiver out there. Like, Buffalo ain't gonna do nothing with their draft picks. Trade for Diggs.
This is true. And he definitely. You know what's crazy? The crazy thing to me, right, that somebody pointed out this week on one of these NFL. I know we were going to talk about NFL playoffs a little bit later, but there's a chance that Buffalo doesn't even make the playoffs, depending on how things shake out this weekend. So, but we'll
Uh-huh.
talk about that in a bit. All right. So, the last 2 weeks of the season leading into week 16, we saw a matchup between two teams, the Ravens and the 49ers. Between those two teams, you had three of the top four people on the rankings for the NFL MVP this season. Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers and Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. Both teams at the time were 11-3. And the MAGA football pundits were running wild talking down on Lamar. One of them said that he wasn't quarterbacky, whatever the fuck that means. Another one basically said that Lamar Jackson shouldn't even show up because the 49ers were going to curb stomp the Ravens. Like they were really enjoying. I mean, I'm not
They
saying it
went
was,
American History X.
I mean, they really did. They were really just like, it felt like Boston and the Lakers back in the 80s, the way they were talking down on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Well, that is not how things played out. The Ravens proceeded to go ahead and put a whooping. And what did Purdy throw? Not one,
4
not
picks,
two, not three, but four interceptions in that game,
4 of them,
while
4 of
Lamar threw none. Okay. What was I believe the final score? And so they ended up having Sam Darnold come in and score a completely meaningless I would say completely meaningless touchdown except to one person on this particular podcast. And we talked about this last week. Lamar Jackson is responsible for why Jared is in second place this week. If Lamar Jackson doesn't whoop on the 49ers last week, Sam Darnold doesn't end up in the game throwing that late touchdown, which gave Marcel's kicker the 1 point he needed to win his
no, no,
game last week.
no. It wasn't that touchdown what set me over. It was that 4th and 9 where he threw it to Debo. And Debo caught it 7 yards and fought. He fought for me because I had a speech to him like the week they played the Cowboys because I hadn't played Debo up to that game. He was getting frustrated, and I told him, "Hey, your time is coming. Just be patient. Diggs doing this thing, Chase doing this thing. You're a vet. We're gonna lead on you. Set a good example for Zay Flowers. You see, Zay ain't got in the game. He ain't complaining. And Debo heard me. He hurt his shoulder. He trained harder. He put on a show, and Zay stayed positive. I never started. Zay got his first start in the championship, and he was ready. So good for Debo. But back to the MVP talk. Lamar, yes, it's dead. Lamar
Oh,
is the MVP.
oh yeah,
Like,
because I was just about to say, not only after, and then he followed up that game against the 49ers with just nothing but a 5 touchdown game. Again, no
yo,
interceptions against one of the other top AFC teams in the Dolphins last week. And again, it was just, I mean, it was a beatdown. Like I
you
know,
know how
maybe go ahead, Mook.
they beat Miami so bad. Miami was out there like, let's just go out here. They got players hurt because they was out here like, let's go out here and practice shit for the next game. We just running stuff out here. That's why they started here late. They was like, we got to prepare for Buffalo. And they out there running stuff. People like, oh, how did we get Chubb hurt? Because they was trying to figure out what they could do. But say like, Josh
The
Allen is
answer
like
was nothing.
Lamar.
The
Yeah,
answer was not
yeah.
a damn thing.
And I knew the MVP was a wrap when they started talking about he was not quarterbacky enough. They didn't have anything else. They couldn't say completion rate. He's doing it with his feet too much. Because you know what? They like Josh Allen. Josh Allen ruined that white quarterback and stay in the pocket because they run at him like Cam Newton. And Lamar just so smooth. Like you think about it, Lamar really ain't even, as they would say, cocky with it. They just don't like Lamar because he's black. He don't be showing up to other players. He just so good and cool and smooth where he just be running out there like, and they don't know what to do with it. He's so
It
good.
it's an
It
interesting thing if Lamar Jackson is able to lead the Ravens to a Super Bowl win, because it won't be the first time that a dual threat quarterback has won a Super Bowl. I mean, Elway,
Steve
Steve
Young.
Young, even Aaron Rodgers back when he won his was able to get out there on the edge and run. It'll be the first time that a true black dual threat quarterback has won the Super Bowl, and that's what they don't want. They can't have that, because then their whole discussion about you can't win a football, you can't win the Super Bowl with a quarterback like that gets thrown away. I would even be okay if Josh Allen somehow managed to win a Super Bowl, because it kills the argument that you can't win a Super Bowl with a quarterback that can move, and you can. But
Yes.
but yeah, anyone who says that, and Lamar's not playing in week 18, but there is nothing that Christian McCaffrey or Brock Purdy could do this weekend that would be able to say that he has, that they should be the MVP over Lamar Jackson, considering what we've seen in the last 2 weeks. The only person I think that can put a dent is if Dak Prescott goes out and has a ridiculous game this weekend, and they somehow, and the Cowboys somehow still managed to clinch the NFC East. But I think that he'll only take votes away from McCaffrey or Purdy in second place. Like,
See,
if Lamar Jackson isn't the MVP this year, like,
I don't think America is ready for Dak to be named the MVP over Lamar Jackson. Black and white America, because white America don't want a black person, and black people treat Dak like he's a white person. And let Dak win the MVP and Dallas lose in that second round. Oh my God. I don't want it. I don't want it for Dak. America ain't ready. Dak just be out here living his life, and he get all the slings and arrows. It's got to be Lamar.
Dak has had a great season. He has defied expectations when in previous years he has faltered down the stretch. But I will say that I have been impressed with his poise, and his ability to lead his team these last few weeks.
Yeah, Acorn.
But with that being said, Jared, I know me and Mook just been talking. You want to throw anything in here before we talk about the championship matchup?
Not really. That MVP race is pretty much locked up. McCaffrey not playing this week. They already locked up their side. They're not playing.
Oh, that's
the only person.
The
only person who might be able to take some votes from him is Tyreek Hill if he goes ape shit over the weekend and somehow gets close to 2,000 yards, but he's still not going to win it.
You know, I got one more thing. You know who else knows Lamar is the MVP? San Francisco. This is why I say that. San Francisco is a cocky, shit-talking team. You see where they beat like the Eagles, Dallas. They talk cash shit. Number one is Fred Warner. They lost to the Ravens. You look after the game, they was like, they dapping them up like, yeah, y'all got us. It was like, yeah, we just didn't have it. They didn't want that. They didn't want that Baltimore smoke after that game. Like,
somebody, I don't remember who tweeted. Somebody tweeted and said, "Let's redo it in Las Vegas." I still have not changed my stance that I do think that those are the two teams that will be representing at the Super Bowl this year. I haven't seen anything since that matchup to change that idea. Again, sorry, Pook. I know you're a Cowboys fan, but yeah, I still that is still my choice for the two teams to be in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl this year would be the Ravens and the 49ers. So
same.
Unless something amazing happens, I just don't see either one of those teams. No one in the AFC is scary enough to make me think they can go into Baltimore and win. Nobody in the NFC is scary enough to make me think that they can go to San Francisco and win.
Mm-hmm. You know what it reminded me of? Like just seeing how they just did Brock Purdy. Kind of like when Debo knocked out Red, because then it was like Lamar Jackson came on the field, looked at San Francisco's D and was like, "You want some of this old man?" And it was like, "No." They beat the shit out of him, man.
All right, let's talk a little bit about our championship matchup last week, and then we'll talk a little bit more NFL.
JJ.
All right. So last week we had a matchup between Stairway to Evans and Ed Corn. Both of them former champions. Ed Corn, a former three-time champion. I'm sorry, Stairway to Evans, a former three-time champion. Ed Corn, a former one-time champion. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is Thursday night. Jared, can you talk about why you didn't start forward at running back?
In my mind, I thought, well, the Jets have a decent defense. It's just that the offense sucks. And if you click Ford's name, I want you to look at his performance this season.
Yeah, I can see that.
He been 12, 10, 5, 9. Before that, 9, 10, 11, 10, 4.
Isn't this where I traded him to you right here?
Probably right about there. Like I said earlier, my whole thought process was Zach Moss is going to give up this spot back to Jonathan Taylor, and then I need a running back who I know going to get some carries. Then Jonathan Taylor got hurt again. And I'm like, yes, I know. I'm going to run with the guy who I know going to get the carries. And Ford wasn't just blowing up. But needless to say, even if I do play him, I still don't win.
This is true.
What?
This is true.
Yeah, because
I mean,
if I put in, it's going to be close. It would have gave me an additional 20 points. I'm still going to lose.
What I always look at in this situation is what would optimal lineup have gotten you, and optimal lineup would have gotten you an additional 31 points, which wouldn't have been enough for you to win, but it would have put you in the 110s, which in the end doesn't matter. So, Mook, you said this was the first week that you played Zay Flowers. What made you go with him in the slot this week over? I mean, I know Mostert has been one of your workhorses, but we know he was out. We knew he wasn't playing. So what made you go with Zay over, let's say, Williams or Brian Robinson Jr.?
I mean, Brian Robinson Jr. played for the Commanders, so duh. And then
well, you drafted him, shit.
Hey, I mean, he got me points in a low call, but I'm not gonna play on week 16 against the 40, week 17 against the 49ers, coming off a hamstring for who for what. But really, man, the conflict I really had was, do I play Stephon Diggs or Jamar Chase? Because I was worried that Chase wasn't gonna play, and I didn't have anybody coming in late. I didn't have no late games for real. I was like, fuck. So I was looking because I was like, I'm not gonna play Williams on a Saturday, and because I only had him on a Saturday, and I got all these people playing Sunday. So I was looking. Then I was like, Mostert out. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to play Zay Flowers in that wide receiver tight end spot, and I didn't hear anything about Chase. It's like it's a game time decision. I didn't want to put Chase in there, he'd be out, and I couldn't feel it. So I was like, it's going to be Diggs, but Zay Flowers at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. Hey, son, you're getting your first call up to the big leagues. And he was happier than a kid on Christmas.
That indeed he was. So, unlike the semifinal week, which we saw two very close games, the championship matchup was not close. 30-point, almost 40-point victory for Ed Corn, who scoops up his second championship for the Texas League. So, what are you going to do with your championship winnings?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Got this champagne kind of before. It was
the championship winnings. I believe that's if you take that out, that's $7 out of the championship winnings. You should still be able to
Hey man, this was from
That
Whole
$7 bottle of
Foods.
champagne. You should still
This
have
is
plenty
from
of money.
Whole this from Whole Foods, man. You know it costs $14. Come on now.
You taxed it 2 G's just to take a ride over to Whole Foods.
Yeah, man. You know they pay that not Walmart tax. But I don't know, man. Might get a new cabinet. I need a new cabinet for the apartment. You know, I got all these gadgets and stuff. Probably just shop on Wayfair like a middle-aged man like myself would do. You know, buy some plants. So yeah, I might pay my dues off next season. So I'll do that for sure. Pay my dues. So commission paying my dues.
So he's saying withhold his dues from his winnings. This
Uh,
Oh,
month.
I'm already withheld his dues from his winnings. What are you talking about? Everybody gets their dues withheld from their winnings. That's just the routine.
Fair
but you
enough.
know,
Fair enough.
I will say I kind of came up because I won. I had the high score a couple weeks, so that was like money that paid for itself. I did the championship. It's like doing. I got 3 fantasy leagues. It's like it paid for itself with this championship. So you know,
Nothing
I'm
wrong with
cool.
that.
I could join the draft a little late next year. I ain't got to be there on the dot when it starts because I'm picking last. Also, just so you know, anybody, hey, Diggs is up for sale. Diggs is on the trading block. Putting it
That
out there.
that won't be
I,
that won't be that will be evaluated once we know where he's playing next season.
I know where he
he'll
ain't
be in
playing.
Buffalo.
He ain't gonna be playing for
Because
Ed next
we
year.
know where he won't be, but let's figure out if they try to make a move for him. And he ends up in Chicago, so we'll see.
If it
Uh,
wasn't for Gabe
Buffalo
Davis, he would be
has a
the.
lot.
don't even speak on that sorry sack of shit, Gabe Davis.
I was so mad watching these
How do you
last few
be?
weeks.
How are you a professional NFL wide receiver? You know who? You know what? You know who he reminded me of? Who used to do that to me before I vowed and stuck with it. Andrew Hawkins. He was so
Mm.
good for that on the Brown.
But Andrew Hawkins is 5'7". This motherfucker 6'4".
You are a professional wide receiver. You should be able, and you on the internet showing off your footwork drills. Use some of that damn footwork to get open.
Hey, Slaver is running Andrew Hawkins across the middle, like get behind Ray Lewis. Easier said than done. Get behind Ray Lewis, but don't go deep enough to fall in the air. Reed. while what Brian Hoyer throw you the ball. Oh,
Well, that's the only reason why I don't fully blame him for everything because he was limited by his quarterbacks. But seriously, bro, sometimes I just need you to make one catch, just one catch.
hey, I was so mad watching Buffalo and Shakur getting all those. I'm like, now, come on, why it's like his first read should never be Shakur, never. I was like, how's Shakur getting all of these first reads? And I know it's his first read because when he's snapping, his head is looking that way.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
dead at the boy.
how's Shakur ever your first read?
If you Josh Allen, that's what it is.
Hey,
Since we talked about it, do you think the Panthers regret taking Bryce Young #1 last year? If they had a redo, if they had a redo, do they take Stroud instead?
think they regret selling a Tepper star right there. But yes, I mean, Bryce might turn it around. We've seen horrible first year quarterbacks often. I think of Troy Aikman, Peyton Manning, but he ain't even showed them flashes. He just looks terrible, man. It's just an organizational failure. Like,
Carolina is bad, but good quarterbacks have shown ability to make some things happen on bad teams. And with the history of Alabama quarterbacks in the league, I would say that his likelihood was way more what's your Mac Jones probability than Tua and Jalen probability based on his.
I hate Mac Jones on looks alone. Like, I know we ain't supposed to profile people, but it looked like he was at those steps in Alabama in the '60s. He looked like a segregationist, man.
Don't do Mac like that, man. Mac
It's the way
seems
he
like he's a
wears.
nice guy,
It's the
but
way he wears his suits, man.
Mac seems like he's a nice guy, but a nice guy. Not Alabama quarterbacks. If you notice, there were how many Alabama quarterbacks across the multiple networks this weekend working college football analysts? I'm just saying.
Hey, Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien saw Milroe play and was like, "See what I mean?"
Oh, let's touch on that for a minute.
He said, like, Bill O'Brien was like, "I was just Lincoln."
The College Football Playoff Committee said that they couldn't put Florida State in the game because their starting quarterback was out and they expected bad quarterback play.
Jalen
Jalen
Milroe.
Milroe did not help their argument about why they should have been in the playoffs instead of Florida State.
But I think it's a lot of bias to go in with our hate for Milroe. Just think about it. Close your eyes. Everybody close their eyes. And just think, when you hear the name Milroe, don't you think linebacker? Or fullback? That's not a QB name.
Scat back.
Like
Flanker screen.
Yeah, you hear Newton, you're like, okay, that's a QB. Or Vic, QB. You hear freaking Manning, QB. You hear something like Rogers, you're like, that's a QB. You hear Milroe, like it's the row. It's that part of the name. Like if his name was just Mills or Miller, good QB. But Milroe,
You're trying to say Milroe missed his calling as a center.
Yeah.
Milroe with the snap.
Yeah, a linebacker. You don't have a QB. I got some theories. It's like, that's a bad QB name, man.
Well, according to Bill O'Brien, it's a bad QB everything, which is why he told that man. I mean, we heard this a bunch of times before. Like, again, Georgia made their run, but imagine having a recruiter tell Cam Newton, "Hey, we're gonna switch you to tight end."
Yes.
What?
Yes. Fucking Mark Rick, I'll never forgive him.
It's just like the running backs coach that told Bo Jackson, "Hey, if you come to Alabama, we don't think you're gonna play until you a junior." Oh, okay.
Man. You know what I think of? You know, there was a coach out there talking about that. You know, they looked at my boy, what's my running back for the 49ers?
McCaffrey.
You know, somebody's like, oh, he gonna be a good safety.
Right.
Somebody thought Peyton Hillis was a linebacker for sure.
Which he should have been.
Speaking of
it was the same
Bill
people who thought
to play safety.
Bill Snyder wanted you to play safety?
No, Vince Young.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. That's just awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bill Snyder wanted Jordy Nelson to play safety.
See what I mean?
Man was in the league for wide receiver, but they thought they wanted.
Exactly. It's the same coach should think Jordy Nelson can play safety, but think Cam Newton should be tight ends. But Bill Snyder, he's like, hey, he'll say, I thought Michael Bishop was a quarterback, though.
Right.
Jordy Nelson was a walk-on. They had him playing scout team safety. Somebody got hurt, and that boy ran a sluggo against the starting cornerback and toasted his ass. And they said, no, you need to be a wide receiver. And the rest, as they say, is history.
I'm sure Adam Thielen got a similar story.
Oh yeah, didn't nobody want Thielen after high school. He talks about that all the time. Didn't nobody recruit him? How are you in Minnesota if you're Thielen and the University of Minnesota, as terrible as they've been for as long as they've been terrible, don't recruit that boy?
That man was running routes saying like, man, you should play safety. He's like, I can't read that fast. I don't like looking at the quarterback's eyes, but I can run this 10-yard out. All you gotta do is throw it at the 5, and I'm gonna catch this 10-yard out. They like,
we could do
something about you we don't know.
We could definitely do a whole podcast on how the hell the teams miss. Like, even though he ended up paying his own way to go to Wisconsin before he got on scholarship, how does Wisconsin let J.J. Watt get out of the state and go to end up at Central Michigan for one single game, let alone tell him he's not.
Man,
Anyway, let's not. We'll
look,
talk about that in the game. Let's hit these playoff scenarios real quick this weekend.
all right.
All right, so we already know in the AFC, Baltimore is a lock. The Chiefs are a lock. Browns are a lock. The only division that's up for grabs is
The East.
the East, which is in the dogfight between Buffalo and Miami. And wouldn't you know it, they play each other on Sunday. Miami has actually already clinched a playoff spot. So a loss on Sunday doesn't hurt Miami, but they want to win because so that way they can host a first round matchup. If Buffalo loses on Sunday, Buffalo may very well be out of the playoffs. And then what does that say about Josh Allen if Buffalo somehow doesn't make the playoffs? You're on
I'll
mute.
go. One.
Yeah.
I'll go. I think Miami is going to win the game, and I think Buffalo's coach is going to get fired. I know people are like, "Oh, Buffalo's the team we don't want to play." Think nobody's been watching these Bills games that they've been winning. Aside from the Cowboys games, they haven't looked good. The passing game is terrible. They cannot throw the ball. James, like I said, James Cook had that good game against Dallas, and everybody was like, "Oh, where has he been all their life?" But you look against the Patriots, you look at that score, the Patriots turned it over 4 times. And Buffalo's offense just looked bad. They can't throw.
Yeah.
It's like the passing game is nasty looking. I ain't talking nasty like Lamar to San Francisco. I'm talking just it's unwatchable. And even a running game, James Cook has had one good game in 2 years. They've brought in all of these different running backs. They try to figure out this. And
They got
Josh Allen
old
is still
workhorses like Latavius Murray and what's my boy's name that was with the Buccaneers?
Fournette.
Leonard Fournette is in their camp now. Yeah.
I'm really, to be honest, I'm concerned with all teams whose quarterbacks lead the team in touchdowns. For starters, like it might not be this year, but it's like not sustainable. Even the Eagles with their tush push, that's a lot of hits and impact on Jalen Hurts, and we're seeing it. It's like, oh, he has a bad knee. I don't think it helps that he's in the middle of a fumble pile at least twice a drive, and he's just taking all these unnecessary hits. Like you look at Lamar, he's not taking those unnecessary hits this year. Even on his running touchdowns, they're clean. He's
Yep.
getting out of. He's not getting
he's
touched.
booting, or it's just so open that he's running it in untouched. I
Yes,
spoke about something. The AFC South is also up.
I mean
The
you,
AFC
you
South.
gave that the you
Well,
gave that the attention it needs. Nobody cares
well,
about the South. That's a
the only
sacrificial
thing
lamb.
I want to talk about though is the fact that Jacksonville, uh, Jacksonville has had such a large fall off. I mean, after winning a playoff game last year, potentially being out of the playoffs this year. That would be a big step back for Doug Peterson and for Sunshine, for sure. Uh, let's see. So Jacksonville still controls their own destiny. If they beat the Titans, who are playing for absolutely nothing but pride, then they go. Houston needs a win and a Pittsburgh loss to sneak in for a playoff spot. So things get interesting. If both Jacksonville and Houston win and Buffalo loses, I think Buffalo's on the outside looking in. Pittsburgh needs a whole lot of help, so I don't think that all the scenarios are going to work out for them. So, although, and that's going to be interesting to see if they try to move on from Mike Tomlin, who's done nothing but give them 15 14, 15 winning seasons in a row and two Super Bowl appearances and a Super Bowl win. But their fan base says enough is enough. We need to make it change. So we shall see. All right, go ahead.
I've been looking at the playoff predictor. If Pittsburgh wins and the Bills lose, the Steelers make the playoffs.
Right, yeah. But I don't think Pittsburgh. Who's Pittsburgh playing? Even
the Ravens, who have nothing to play for.
They have nothing to play for, except for all those second team players who want a contract or who want to be somewhere next season and have a chance to start. Baltimore is going to come out and play hard. Those backups are going to try to come out and ball because if Baltimore does win the Super Bowl, it puts them in a better position to negotiate their free agency. They're going to be able to say, I won a Super Bowl, and look at how we still came out there and beat Pittsburgh. And the one game I had a chance to shine in, I shined. So will be interesting, though. All right, over in the NFC, as we said, we already know that the 49ers have clinched #1 overall. The Cowboys, thanks to the Eagles losing, 4 out of the last 5, are now in the driver's seat for the NFC East, which they don't need nothing fancy. They just need to win. So, I mean, both them and Philadelphia are in the playoffs by virtue of, clinching that spot a few weeks ago. But if Dallas was to win, what we would presume is that the Eagles would go to Tampa Bay in that first round if Tampa Bay can go ahead and beat the absolutely horrible Panthers this weekend.
Yeah. It's like the NFC is just a battle of the dumb teams. I think San Francisco's not a dumb team, but they just frail. They get hurt a lot. So that's the only thing that I could see getting in the 49ers way, somebody getting hurt. It's like they just get hurt a lot because all them other teams got stupid things at all the positions. Like Dallas, you can never trust McCarthy. Stupid. The Eagles, they hired Matt Patricia as their D coordinator. Stupid. Then Detroit is Detroit. So, and whoever's in the NFC South to make it, let it be Tampa, New Orleans, or Atlanta. I hope it's not Atlanta. Just do us the favor.
Can you imagine? Right? Because here's the scenario as I'm looking at it right here.
The South going into Dallas and winning.
If Tampa Bay loses, the winner of the Falcons Saints game is the NFC South champion.
That's what I'm saying. It's just except for the 49ers, there's no competence in the NFC.
So Tampa Bay, please do us all a favor because I don't want to hear nothing from Saints fans or Falcons fans. Just win the game. Just beat a very, very bad team. That's all you have to do.
And we cannot.
Technically, we could tie and still make a play.
Why would you tie?
There's been zero.
I didn't say I want to tie. Just saying, because technically, we could tie.
Because if you
and go to the
hold on, if you only tie, you need New Orleans to lose. So don't just tie, just go win the game. That way we can send Saints fans. Listen, football is better without Saints and Falcons fans in the playoffs. There, I said it.
I refuse to watch a game of Arthur Smith once again. That's why I didn't draft Kyle Pitts, because I refuse to watch a game and have to depend on Arthur Smith drawing up a play for a good player. Like, never forget, the Falcons was one of the teams high and proud this offseason talking about they don't need Lamar Jackson. They good with Desmond Ridder.
Who is so good they benched him for? I don't even know who their backup is. They benched him for
Tyler Heineke. Benched him twice. For Heineke did said, "Oh, Ridder is our best chance to win." Like, if Arthur Smith don't get fired, come on.
And somehow, some way, the Packers have a chance to clinch a playoff spot with a win versus Chicago. So Chicago may not be playing for a playoff spot, but how much do you think? I mean, much like Detroit did Green Bay last year, on the last day of the season. How much do you think Bears fans want to break this streak of losing to the Packers at home with the cherry on top of knocking them out of playoff contention? So, yeah.
You know, I like Jordan Love, man. I love him. Like how he's developed this season. It's like week 7. I was like, this motherfucker, sorry, get him off my tape, get him off the TV. He has gotten so much better. I enjoy watching him. With that being said, you already got that top pick locked in. Fields is having a good season. Just go out there and beat Green Bay if you're Chicago. This is your Super Bowl right here because you win. It ain't going to change your draft stuff, but give the fans of Chicago something to be happy about. You're a terrible ranch franchise. Go out there and try to win. Send them packing. And then everybody can treat you like Detroit coming into the next season. And at that point, if you're going to suck next year, you got to move on for Fields because you bring up all that expectation by beating Green Bay. And if you bring Fields back and y'all bust, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, but go for it, Chicago. Like, don't sit. Like, if you win, it's not going to make your draft positions. You cannot. It's just go out there and play and beat their ass. They talk so much shit to you. Like, they started the season whooping up on you. Like, man, just finish your season up. Bring that good choo-choo going into the next week. Beat Green Bay. That's what
Right.
they should go out there. Just play spoilers. Be like, yeah, we sent y'all home back-to-back seasons. Is the game in Green Bay?
No, the game is in Chicago.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, do it in front of your home crowd. Give the people of the Midway something. Like, do it for Dick Buckus. Dick Buckus never played in a playoff game, I don't think. But he would be smiling down from heaven. So if he ain't on that Epstein list, he getting into heaven. So just do it for Dick.
The name Dick, but I don't make Dick Buckus' ghost show up at your house and smack your champagne out your hand.
Do it for old Bron Bones. I know y'all seen the Headless Horseman. Hey, but speaking of that, how everybody was like, oh, the players were so much classier back in the day. Have y'all
They
ever
were
seen
not.
that highlight? Have y'all ever seen that highlight of like Dick Buckus like scored a touchdown or something and he tried to hand the ball to the opposing team?
They were not. It just wasn't.
He was
Guys, don't believe the hype.
Dick Buckus was out there talking shit. Like he literally scored a touchdown, turned to the other. It was against the Saints, I think. It just headed the ball to the player on the Saints. It was so funny. I'm like, oh, I thought they were classy back then.
Yeah. All right. Well, fellas, it's been a hell of a season. I'm glad you were able to
It
join us
has.
this week. Looking forward
Had to, man.
looking forward to the final week of the regular season. I guess we'll probably do this again, and like we did last year, we'll do a Super Bowl preview episode to keep the please put your chest hairs away. Well, you're gonna get us a health
Oh, I
code
waxed this
violation.
I waxed this morning.
You're gonna get us a health code violation.
I like how you ignored what I said.
Oh, trust me, it deserved to be ignored both times that you said it. But yeah, congratulations again to
Cocoa butter in there.
Marcel Brown and the Egg Core team. I still hate the team, even after you explain what the hell the team name means. I still
It's
hate
your
the
fault.
name. I still
It's
hate
your
the name.
fault.
It's
You
not
let
my
me know I
fault.
was stupid. It is.
It was so stupid. It's so stupid.
You let me know I was stupid. Then I was listening to. I was like, oh, this is a thing. I was like, I'll go with it. Hey
It is,
man, I thought it
it
was
is a
intensive
terrible
purposes.
team name. It is one of the all-time worst fantasy football team names. But you got two-time champion next to it, so hats off to you, sir. Much respect.
Yeah. Hey, it's your fault.
Until next time, friends.
Peace.